Hi, my name is Briana. I'm the author and the illustrator of Dance School Diaries. Practice Makes Perfect. You can follow me on Instagram at dance_school_diaries. Also, you can like my Facebook page called Dance School Diaries Book Series.
So what inspired you to write Dance School Diaries?
Oh my gosh, a whole lot of stuff. Well, of course, one thing that inspired me was my career. Cause I landed into social work, and I was like, I don't like it. I mean, I like helping people, but it just wasn't me. It wasn't me. And I was tired of getting laid off, and my main inspiration was I wanted to find work that was stable enough for me. I couldn't do like the here and there and keep going to different places and have to keep learning or keep going through training and learning this work, this job organization culture and all this stuff. I just wanted to be at a job where I could just take my shoes off and just wait for the retirement check comes, but it's not. It wasn't. So just me going back and forth with just trying to get into trying to find a niche for me. I'm like really creative, and I knew I was creative, but I didn't know where to focus on. So I had dance, and then I had, then I'm also creative, and just kind of coming up with projects and coming up with certain stuff. So to mesh all that together was like, it was a lot. So I guess when God push you up against the wall and like kind of push you, you have no choice but to kind of follow suit or at least pay attention. So that's really how this book came about, and I just was drawing. I just was like doodling because I was just over everything, and and somebody came to me and was like, you got a really good hand that you can be an illustrator. And when he said that, I was like, let me try to see if I can write a book to match the words that go with the drawing. So that's how that all came up. And this actually wasn't the first book that I started. The first book was called Pasta Rasta. So it wasn't about dancing, nothing. So when I came up with this was like perfect. We were like, great, I will never be out of work because I'm a dancer. So
right,
it makes sense.
So the main character, Sugar Bunny, she has such a really cute personality.
Right.
Is there anyone in particular who you might have drawn from to like create her personality, or?
Well, she's a little bit of me, but she's a lot of like the little girls that I teach. And I teach a lot of kids that doesn't have a lot of dance experience. So, and I see the frustration all the time. Like they're really frustrated. They're really frustrated when it comes to when you introduce a new step to them. I kind of wanted to create this character to kind of be that inspiration for the kids that don't get it like that. And I'm kind of like it too, because it depends on what it is. If it's ballet, I'm like, I can't get it. I'm like, wait, I can't get the step. But if it's like, of course, like tap or hip hop, that's my go-to, and I get it like that. But there might be some things where I'm like, I have to ponder on it and things don't come as easy. So I had to motivate myself to get it. You know what I mean? There's no one else that's gonna be like, oh girl, go ahead, you can do it, because you know how to dance, bro. This is very competition-y at times, but then there's not a lot of build-up. You know what I mean? There's not a lot of build-up. Like, people like, I see you working, I see you trying, just go ahead, just do this step, or twist it, or try this, or try that. You may have it sometimes, but it's not all the time that you're going to get it. And especially to the girls that don't have a lot of dance training. Like, they can come in and want to dance, but get a person that is not going to feed their soul for that, and then they're walking out thinking that they are horrible. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's not cool.
Right.
It's Sugar Booger, but her dance teacher name is Madame Delatours, and I wanted her name to be hard to pronounce because I just felt like ballet instructor, like in my brain, a ballet instructor is strict. She used to be a big old, big prima donna dancer, but she has like this like fabulous name or something like that. So I kind of wanted to be, but I did want to kind of put like a dance term in it, so I put tours in it. So that's how I kind of was like, what would it be? I know people gonna have like hard time like pronouncing it, but that's the goal. Pronounce however you wanted to.
So your dance teacher, she reminds me of a lot of dance teachers that I had growing up, a lot of that you probably had growing up. Is there anyone in particular that you modeled her character off of?
That's a good question. That's a good question. I model her off of just what I thought that a dance teacher or ballet instructor, because there's going to be more teachers that's going to come within this book series, but I just wanted to start off with her.
Okay.
In my dreams, dance teachers, ballet teachers are very strict. They have madam in front of their name. They used to be a dance teacher. Now I made her big because I don't know I feel like, no shade, but sometimes when we stop dancing, we put pounds on.
Yeah, that's true.
We do, and I've been there and done that. So she was this prima donna. You could see like her feet is still little. Her feet is still turned out, but she still has a lot of dancer weight, but she just put pounds on her. So now she put pounds on her, but she's sharing her talents to the kids, but she's more so strict. And ballet is very disciplined too. So I feel like you can't have a teacher that's very silly.
Right.
With, that's like going to be a ballet teacher. Like I feel like she needs to be a strict ballet teacher. Like going definitely back into traditional times. Like traditional times when I was growing up, like there were, madams and people would do like ballet teachers really wore ballet, like leotards. They didn't teach in sweatpants, or they didn't, if they had a dress, or they might have like a dance skirt on and stuff like that. So I wanted to go, wanted to kind of touch on that. Mm-hmm. The big dance teacher, Madam Bellator, always have a boa on. Why have a boa? I just think boa is like, if you have on a boa, you just want some fabulous stuff. Like,
right.
And so she just was just like, this company girl who danced in this ballet company, but she always wear a boa on her to remind her of her fabulousness from like back in the day. Because again, you put on pounds, you don't dance, you kind of like your self-esteem does go down a little bit. So that boa is like a reminder of how fabulous she was and how fabulous she still can be. Mm-hmm. So that's why you're going to probably always see Madame Bellator with a bow on.
Alright, so you mentioned that you did all of the illustrations yourself and that you started off with illustration. Mm-hmm. Being as though that you were not like an artist, like a trained artist, how was that? Like to go from being dancer, social worker to now an illustrator?
Right. It's a lot. I don't even know. Like sometimes trying to like put it all into perspective. Like there's new roles that I have. Like so right now it's finding balance. I'm trying to like get into this new role that I have. Because I wasn't a train, I got inspiration from a friend of mine that's a graphic artist that helped me out with this book a lot, and he helped me out with the drawing process. And I've been working on it since 2014. So every time I was finished a little portion of the project, I will let him look at it and then have him say like, okay, make this that way, turn that way, do something like that. And he will give me like little fixes, and I will go back and fix it, and then the whole entire thing will be. So I drew this story about 3 times before I actually gave it to him for it to be, put into Illustrator and all that stuff. But he gave me encouragement saying that you don't need to do anything else. Like he was like, this is really raw. This is raw artistry right here because you didn't go to school for it. So you're basically just going like freehanded, and it looks good. Then he's like, well, if you go and you start taking classes and stuff like that, you start getting technical, then you're going to change what is raw and turn it into something, technical, which is, it might not come out as raw and genuine as what you have. So he was like, don't change nothing. Because I was really like, I'm going to start going to art classes. He's like, no. And it was cool because what I did was I consulted with him to get his his expertise, because he actually went to school for graphic art, and he's been an artist, and he went to Kappa and everything like that. But I went and bought comic books. Well, not comic books, but like drawing cartoon books to help me out, because I'm more of a visual learner when it comes to that. I can like sit here and look at something and then really draw it, and I can make it look a little mature, or I can make it look very cartoonish. But I've been playing around with that because I was really nervous about taking on this task, because I'm like, this is big, this is huge, and I'm in the dance world and I want to see her foot look a certain way. Especially if I'm teaching, I can't draw her foot looking all sickle. Like her foot has to be turned out. So once I started getting a good hand on it, it was like a no-brainer, and it was just like I didn't want to, change. And I'm very religious, so I would definitely pray over like everything that I did in this book. Like I prayed over it, every page, every time I drew, every time, because it was certain stuff like in the book that I was nervous about doing. Like I was really nervous about it. Trying to think on the page. What page was it? I was really nervous about this page. This is a page. When she was crying, she was walking home. Let me show you this. When she was walking home, because you had to go from happy to sad. You know what I mean? And then I had to continue to like draw her looking like her, but looking like a sad her.
Yeah.
So that was another thing that was kind of like, ooh, like I gotta get into like the nose and the eyes and the mouth. It's kind of like you want to keep that consistent, because if you turn around, you put her, the sad her right next to the happy her, it should still look like her. It not look like, oh, they look like a totally different person. So that was really, really challenging. And I also like to stay in my lane, because I don't want to take on nothing that I can't really handle. But I was trying to match words that go with the story. So when I was matching stuff, I was like, dang, all right, I gotta draw her sad, now I gotta draw her crying. And there was another part of the book that I had to introduce her mom, and I had to really draw her really sad. Like she was in a she was more sad than what she was when she was walking home.
Yeah.
So and I still had to keep that up and then also I had to have her mom look like her too.
Yeah.
So it was like it was a lot of it was just a lot of like paying attention to detail that I really, really, really had to do.
Yeah.
I'm really excited about that.
Yeah, it was hard to believe that you never took art classes. Like I'm looking through the book and I'm like, these are awesome. And then you said that, I'm like,
never took art classes at all. I was a professional doodler.
Yeah.
Well, let's say when I came, so they had Draw Something. Draw Something came out while I started doing it, like around 2012, around the time when I was getting laid off. So you're getting laid off, and like, I forget this work. I ain't doing this work. I was just sitting at the job like, I'm just drawing, and I would play against my friends. My friends didn't want to play with me no more because I would draw like this immaculate picture, and they just asked for a wake up, like, or they asked for like, I think one of them was like, audience or something. And I drew like this girl with the stage, she had like a curtain in the back, and it really was like audience, and then like a stage that came out with like all kinds of stuff. And they'd be like, what is this? So a lot of people stopped playing with me.
Right.
But I was like, I still want to draw, so that's when I started drawing. I was taking like, I took like a bunch of the pictures that I drew, and I saved off to Draw Something. And that's when I came to my friend. I was just showing him this out of fun, and he was like, "This is decent. You should make a story out of it. You should." I was like, "Well, I can't make a story out of it because they were all random.
Yeah,
they were all random things that I was drawing." But that's how it came up with that whole, that whole concept. And once I just started drawing, I'm like, it just got better and better. You can really see. I brought a few things with me, like. So you can kind of see like the progression of Sugar Booger and
wow, so cool.
This is like that I did that was like don't really look nothing like these drawings, but you can kind of tell. Now I didn't color this, so don't hold this against me. Little kid, one little kid that I was working with, they was like, "Can I color this?" But if you see, like she looks totally different than this person, like. So I had to continue to draw, and I did this, so like, I had to continue to draw. Like she had no definition in her body, even though I still wanted her to look thick, but I wanted her to look realistic thick, and not like oh she looks like crazy thick or nothing like that. So and it was like I know I had some other stuff. I can probably give you a preview of my next little situation. This is and this is also this I have to fix this too, but this should be towards the next story. It's going to be called Stage Fright. That's just to give y'all just another little tidbit. But she I had to do something with her because I made her really small and I made them big on the side. So I'm still, learning my angles or my shapes and things like that as I draw. But I'm just trying to make it very realistic to our world because I'm such a dance school baby.
I'm sorry.
Yes, I'm such a dance school baby, so I wanted to really put that out there so that our kids can have something to look towards and also get more kids into dance school.
Right, exactly.
They're like, I just feel like they're not. I feel like now they're not really serious about dance school.
Yeah.
And it's not just the kids because it's the parents too. They're not taking it, as serious. A lot of kids, they come, they sign up for whatever class they sign up for, but then they don't come. And they come sometimes and they don't come, and then they get mad because their kid's not doing as well as they're supposed to. So, and it's just like I guess the love and the passion is not there anymore like that. Like a lot of kids are lazy. They don't want to rehearse. They don't want to keep going over and over a step because you have to. Like even there's steps that I know that I still know of, like that I was doing since I was 15. Like we put a music on, I probably won't know the entire dance, but I could pick up a combination of 32 count or something like because that's how much our teachers had us going over and over and over stuff. So, and I like that the book is called Practice Makes Perfect because that was more my thing because I worked with kids that don't really know anything about dance school too. So they feel like, oh my God, why I keep doing this? And especially the kids that do get it. I'm like, you got it, but your friend doesn't have it. So everybody got to get the joke. Right. Everybody got to get it. So it was kind of, just to kind of reinforce what I always say all the time to kids. And it's not just for dance, it's just for anything. Like, practice makes perfect. And I really did this for my son too, because he's lazy.
So how was your publishing process? Like, how long did it take? How difficult was it?
It was long, but it wasn't as long as I thought. Well, no, it was long enough. And I think the long part about it was the patience part. I really had to be patient because I didn't know what I was doing. I just came up with this idea, like, oh, I'm gonna do a book. Well, now you're gonna come up with a book, but then you gotta learn about the book, industry. And I still don't know a lot about it, but I just know enough to at least make it come to life.
Right.
I would research publishing and self-publishing. I heard a lot of authors are going the self-publishing route because it's a lot more easier to just do it yourself than to rely on somebody to say, hey, that's a really good manuscript. Let me give you a contract. You know what I'm saying? Then we're back in the same bag, in the same boat, me trying to beg for a job. Like, so it was just like, let me just go ahead and do this myself. Now, if somebody, take more of an interest in it and want to, give me some type of play, then that's awesome. And I think that's the route that I really was like, I kept coming back to that. So I researched self-publishing companies that would, that would be for me, but they all wasn't for me. It just didn't make sense to me. One, because I was doing a children's book and I'm already the author and illustrator, so I didn't need an illustrator on it. I went to school for public relations, so I didn't really need somebody to tell me how to market something that's so passionate to me. Like, I love reading, but I love dance. So I really didn't need no one to kind of tell me, like, you should market your book this way. Not when I'm around it and I have connections in it. So that was one thing that I didn't need them to do. Maybe I needed help with, like, copywriting and ISBN, but I went to Google.
Figure that out. Yeah.
So I went on Google and I figured out how to do the copyright of the book and how to go about getting the ISBN. Also, I mentioned it like last year because I didn't. Certain people just knew that I was working on this. Everybody didn't. I don't not want to like put all my business out on Facebook. But I just so happened one day just like told like my Facebook friends like, oh, I'm working on this book, and one of my friends had tagged me onto this event called Self-Publishing on a Budget. And I was like, oh, good, that's a good thing. I'm going to just go and I'm going to take as much, information as I can. When I went to the place, it was really good for me to go. I got a lot of good tips. But it was good for me to go because I was actually it was a lot of women that was there, but I was the only one that wanted to do a children's book. Everybody else wanted to do like a novel.
Right.
And, novels are, you just have to get extensive editorial coverage on it. And then have a really good cover art. And then the whole process, copyright and ISBN, there's your book.
Right.
But when you have a children's book, you gotta make sure those pictures match those words. And then you're going for a kid and it has to be a good read. Like, it has to, the words it don't have to rhyme, but it has to make sense and it has to sound like a good flow, a good reading flow.
Right.
Especially for kids that's just starting out to read. So you had to take all that into consideration too. And I think at the time I was still drawing on paper. So I'm like, I need to get these digitally. So I didn't know how to go about it. And I forgot, that I had a graphic artist friend that was like that he can do it. So I just used what I had, and I went on Meetup. It's called Meetup.com.
Oh yeah, I know that.
Yeah, and I got involved with the writing. It was like a writing group, and it was free. We just all went, and like a lot of people was like working in progress manuscripts, and we all got around the table and just was talking about our stuff. And it was ran by a lady named Judy. I forgot her last name, but she's a creative writer, and she also self-published books. So I was able to put my plug in with her because she saw what I had, and she helped me out. She did a little bit of the editing of the first part of the book. This went through a few editing processes, but I did that, and she, she helped me out with that. So by me just kind of going out and just doing as much research as I can through Google, and then trying to reach out to people that I do know that. Well, I don't even know, but trying to reach new people that has self-published a book, just getting their information from them. I just kind of put it all together, like, kind of like baking a cake.
Right.
Putting all the ingredients together and then putting it in the oven and it just come out. Yeah, that's how it all came in. I was really, really nervous about the process because I didn't want to work backwards. But this was something new and something that if you're putting out there, you have to be so serious about. Like, you can't just put a book out and then be like, okay, that's it, you know? So, and then putting it out too, you're going to have people like, oop, this was a typo. Like, it's like, it was the most that I've ever worked hard on something just to get to it, like, at perfection. And I mean, nothing's going to ever be perfect, but you know what I mean? If it could be close to perfect, I'm okay with it, But it was more so, the nervous part was the process of getting into production. Now I have a process and I know what needs to happen, so the next one's gonna come out like that.
Yeah, really easy.
It's gonna be really easy. So I just have to now I have to.
I know whenever you're doing something groundbreaking or great, it's always like a hard process, but more so spiritually.
Right.
So what helped you get through the journey spiritually? Like, what things did you do to get through that and keep your mind focused on your goal?
Well, I go to Voice of Praise Worldwide Ministries. It's 3509 Boyer Grove, and my pastor name is Alice L. Martin. She is the best. Like, she is amazing. First of all, she has this anointing over her that you just can't help but to be gravitated towards. Then when she speaks, she puts things into perspective, and it's kind of like, like certain pastors or preachers will preach certain stuff, and then it'll be like, okay, it's like, oh yeah, blessing is coming. No, she make you self-examine yourself. Like,
right.
She puts stuff out there to make you be like, yo, what you did last week? Like, and so it was, and I've been going to her, definitely that, not consistently, but on and off. It's been more consistent within the past year and a half or so. But I've been going to her, and every time, every message is not the same. It's always something she literally makes you check yourself. Mm-hmm. And I think because of that, it made me check a lot of myself, and it kind of made me, it kind of made me realize like I really wasn't happy. Like I was not happy at all. I wasn't happy with some relationships that was in my life, and I wasn't happy. Definitely wasn't happy with like, you know, my career. And with that being said, it was like, where do you go to get happy? You know, happiness. Well, you have to work on yourself first. You know, you gotta like start getting rid of like all the bad things that you're connected to, that you're attached to, because you're not going to be able to grow from that. Like you're going to always be stagnated and just boggled down from whatever weight you attach yourself to, whether or not you asked for it, or you just went out and saw it, or it came onto you. You know what I'm saying? So that's definitely where to start with. It was like I had to build my relationship up with God. Like, you know what I mean? Like I've always been religious, but I wasn't spiritually like into like more connected to God and listening to like the messages, because it comes in so many different ways. Like we are constantly being in contact with all kinds of stuff, and we do so much stuff. If you think about what you did from the time you woke up to like just right now, there was like a million things, you know what I mean, just by thinking and walking and all this old stuff. And there's a lot of like messages that come your way that can go over your head if you don't really open your eyes up, you know. So I know a lot of that has a lot to do with it. And there's one thing that she says that stuck out like a sore thumb. She said you have 2 eyes and 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason. And with that being said, that was just kind of like, that was deep, because we do a lot of this, you know what I mean? We do a lot of talking, a lot of like coming at people, or not even just coming at people, but you just talk and you miss all of this. You miss this, and that is like so important. Like the seeing and then the hearing is so important, because if you don't say nothing, you just sit back and observe and watch and take in, then when it's time to say something, then it's like, oh, okay. You know what I mean? So I really had to get that down pat, because I always thought before I spoke, but it was this confirmation for me as to why I always do that, because I always like, oh, I'm not really outspoken. I can be outspoken, but I'm not outspoken to, if nobody asks me your opinion, I'm not going to share my opinion, because you didn't ask it, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And maybe you didn't ask it for a reason. So I'm going to sit back and listen and watch and see why you didn't ask me for opinions. And when you do ask me for it, then I can tell you it, you know what I mean? Just from being observant. But if you don't never sit back and observe people, you can't say nothing, you know what I mean? And I'm one of those people that I believe, I will take heed to somebody that I see that's walking right. You can't come at me if you're not walking right. You know what I mean? Like if you're not walking and talking and doing right, but you always have all this to say and never hold yourself accountable, then I'm not listening to you. And so, but I also had to fall back off of it too, because you still need to listen, regardless of how you feel, or regardless of how you feel as though that person don't have that person don't have a right to say, you know what I mean, or look at that person, but they're saying it. You know what I mean? So they might be saying it, and I want to take a piece out of it, because something might be right, but something might be true. So I'm gonna take it, but I'm not gonna, we're not gonna argue over it, because at the end of the day, I got 2 eyes and I got 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason. So when it comes down to time when I need to, I took in a lot and I took in what I need to take in. So now when it's time to talk and walk, then that's when it's time to talk and walk. So that was a lot. Like that was a lot of reason as to how all of this came up, because again, like being put into something that you don't belong, like it's not a good feeling. Like it's not. I mean, I be in the office and like everybody be like, all I do is listen to music and dance. Like, and like, why am I in this office? Like, and I'm just dancing and listening to music. Like, why don't I just do that for a living? Like. And it's like changing your atmosphere is a lot. Like, I'm not, definitely not where I want to be right now, but I'm getting there. And so, but in the process of doing it, I had to change my atmosphere. I had to change my way of thinking and change my way of like doing it, how I see things too. So to help me get to where I need to be. So I'm still I'm still learning. I'm a work in progress. So
Yeah.
That's kind of like a lot of what helped me get to this. Definitely, I had to consult with God first, because if you don't consult with Him first, then people like really go astray, like, and they don't even notice it. Like, you don't even notice it. And I had to sit back and think of like the times that I never consulted Him doing stuff, why I'm going through certain stuff, because I never asked you. Like, I may have did it on my own, thinking that, oh, this is a good move, but it really wasn't, because I didn't ask you. You know what I mean? I didn't ask you, and I had to look back, like, going through certain stuff in life. You know, you be like, Dad, how did I get there? Because He gave it to you. He provided for you, but you never give Him the acknowledgement. You know, you never put Him first. And it was, I mean, it's times where I be like, yo, I don't even know how that got paid. I don't even know how that got done.
Right.
And it got done. So now I'm in this self-examining part in my life. I have no choice but to ask you. I cannot be dependent on myself anymore, because I don't know ish. Like, I don't know it. I don't. And I feel good about always consulting God first, because it's like, I'm going to go way up where I need to be if I consult with Him. And if I rely on myself, I'm going to be right down here again. So that's my little spiel on that. Me also coming into this journey got some books, little self-help books, but this one was like, it's called Solid Tips to Success in Self-Publishing, and it's a simple guide, and it was really cool. I went to Black and Noble. I really love that store.
Yeah.
But I went there and I was, talking to the owner and just was trying to get inspiration, trying to step more out of my box, and like, because I didn't know anybody that knows anything about books, so just go where the books is and go ask questions. So he led me to this book, and this book was like a really, really good read. And it was and the guy that had the author, his name is J.M. Benjamin. He has a really good success story too that's in this book. So it kind of helped me out with the way that I wanted to go and read out a lot of pros and cons. And he also gave me this book too. It's called Think and Grow Rich. And I'm not finished.
Oh, I heard about that.
This book right here is that work. Like, it is really, and I'm so not finished it, but it's one of those books that you can just come to and read. Like, you don't have to read it all the way out like a chapter book, but you can. I'm gonna always have this book, because no matter where I'm at in life, I come back to this book. My way of thinking will probably be different, and I probably pick up something new that I didn't pick up, before. So this book, you see, is all wrinkled. It goes everywhere I go. But I just got this book not too long, and I really want to read this book all the way through. This book right here is so good. Like, if I could highlight the entire book, I think I would. Like, it's good. It just talks about how to get to success, and it's basically a self-examining book. And it just for me, it was confirmation as to how I've always been, and how I've been in the journey. This how I've been thinking. I'm like, dang, I'm so glad I've been doing it, because it just makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Like, so it's a really good read. It's good, and especially when I'm feeling down, I just pick these up. Oh yeah, and the Bible. Another self-examining book that use. Oh, the Bible. Me and the Bible we have our relationship where I go in and out with it, because I wasn't raised in the church. I was raised up Christian, like, this is your religion, but I wasn't raised in the church, and I didn't know how to pray. My last name is Pray. I didn't know how to pray. I didn't know how to, I didn't know how to establish a relationship with God. But I had it all the way along. I just didn't know that I was doing it. Right. So in order, like, to read the Bible is it can be a lot, because some of it is not in the word, like the English that we're using, like the language that we're using. So and then there's also stuff that I know every time I read it will go over my head. So I would get frustrated, because I'm like, I know that this means something, but what does it mean? So it frustrates me. So not to the point where I'm like, oh, I'm gonna give up, but it's just frustrating because I'm a person that want to understand. Like, if I don't understand, then I'm like, what's wrong? But I also had to understand that things that you just not supposed to understand. Like, we not. I mean, he does things for a reason. You'll understand it later, but you might not understand it right now. So, but I do reach out to, like, if I'm having an issue, I'm glad I'm in the church now that I can reach out to somebody in my church. Like, if I'm having a hard time understanding, like, a Bible verse, I can reach out to them and they can elaborate on it and everything like that. So that's been really helping me out a lot.
Yeah.
A whole lot.
How do you feel now that your creation has, like, come to life and everything is here and all your work is, like, you can see something?
That is really funny because I was talking to my cousin last night and he was giving me all these props, like, yo, you decent, and da da da. And I was just like, I always thought I was, like, pretty dope, but it feels really good to know that, like, exactly how this book is was what I saw in my head for like 2 years. So, but as I was talking about it and telling people, like, my circle, they listened, but it was kind of like, okay. But it's so hard to get people to see what you see, and they don't, because you see it, but they don't see it. So in order to get it in visual context, I believe, like, I guess, it was a process. So now it's there, and then people see it, and then their reaction is like over the moon. That's like, wow. It's like, you gotta, that's like that. It's again confirmation as to, like, you was not feeling how you was feeling is validated. You know what I mean? It was for a reason. You wasn't just feeling like that, because you just being this selfish little brat, or you just, you know what I mean? Like, I literally did not want to be where I was at, and I was like, and I would pray to God, like, I just want a job, or I just want something, and now I have one. Like, when I didn't even mention it. I walked off my job. I think I should have mentioned it. So 2014, I left my job because it had gotten like too much for me to deal with. I was already unstable with, like, my home life, and then I met this job that I really could care less about, and it was all this pressure, and it didn't allow me to even focus on. I mean, I was making okay money, but I wasn't able to come home and focus on what I need to focus on. Plus, I had a son, so how am I going to do this job, focus on my son, focus on what I'm focused on, and then still trying to get my mental right, life right, and still trying to ignore the fact that my life, my home life is unstable. Like, that was a whole lot. So I took it out on the job, basically. Like, kind of didn't really, I got myself in trouble because I didn't care. Like, and I was like, that's not me. That's not me at all. Like, I like to work, and I like to keep relationships, and I don't want to burn bridges. But I was at a point where I was like, I don't even care. Like, I don't care. And that's how I was like, oh, you got to do something about that.
Yeah.
So I was like, I prayed about it for, like, the whole weekend. And I talked to my mom about it, and it was just like, just go. I know how how I am. I know that I'm not gonna fall. I'm not gonna fail. But I know that I was going to be able to be okay. I have a good support system, but I can go without. I know the art of sacrificing. So I was like, okay, I'm not scared. Mm-hmm. So that's why I just was like, I'm gonna just step out on faith, and I'm gonna just do what it is. I know I'm gonna struggle, but it is what it is. And I did struggle, and I was struggling. But it was the fact that I snatched the safety net from up underneath me, and the safety net was that salary paying job. Because as long as I had that, I wasn't really going to do a move. It was like, all right, well, I mean, I'm used to getting this, but no, you got used to getting nothing. You know what I mean? You got used to being like, okay, now you don't have this PTO that you sitting over here, or all the stuff. Now you really got to work. And to be self-employed, or at least to be employed where you don't have PTO, all this stuff, like, you literally have to go out and work, like, every day in order to maintain stuff. It changed your mind, and changed your way of thinking around. So I think that was like the first step in that. But I just really wanted to step out on faith and really put my faith in order, because I'm very independent. Like, I'm Miss Independent. I don't need your money. I don't need this. But, you know, and it kind of went into my relationship with God. Like, because I was independent, I felt like, oh, I'm a pray, but I'm not gonna keep praying and asking for the same thing. Like, and why would you take that on? Like, you know, I was just getting mad at myself. Like, why would you think that praying, you know, that you could pray and give praise? Like, you know, you don't have to pray and ask. And I was praying. My prayer life was in the wrong run, because I wanted things to happen. But I felt like if I prayed, he heard me one time, and then I'm gonna just leave it at that. And that was my independent way of it. And things wasn't working out, so I had to totally depend on him and totally take myself out and just look at a lot of the ways how he brought me out of stuff, how he was able to provide and make way for certain stuff. So yeah, that was a lot of it.
Where we get your book?
So you can go on Amazon.com, or you can go on CreateSpace.com and get the book. You can also contact me directly. I also have a website. It's www.brianapray.com, and you can also purchase the book that way. I have a Kickstarter page that I started. So hopefully I'll get the funds for it so I can be able to do more with it. So. And it's called Funding Dance School Diaries. So hopefully it'll come through. That'll be dope.
Yeah.
That'll be real dope. But I find that if I have a lot of books on me, I can be more valuable, more marketable, because I never know, somebody might be like, I want 200 books. I'd be like, well, all right.
Right.
You know? And I need to have that on me. You know, I can't be like, oh, go to Amazon and, you know, like the thrill going to be going after me and that person leave. Like, I mean, hopefully not, but, you know, when people is interested, you want to pounce on it, like, right then and there, and just, and get it out of the way and be all prepared. Like, I drive for Uber and Lyft, and I sold like 3 books yesterday. And, what was yesterday? Saturday. Friday, one of the days. I drive all the time, so. But I push my book through them too. Like, everybody get in my car, you get a business card and a mouthful, okay? So you're not gonna get in my car and not know nothing about Dance School Diaries.
Right.
And I mean, and it's funny because some people was like, oh, that's awesome, I want to buy a book. You got you got any change on me? I'm like, no, but I got a Square card. So you gotta be ready at all times, And that was another thing that I was just like putting all my ducks in order and all that stuff. And as I was putting my ducks in order, like, I would do little small things and put it away to the side. I have like a little black book where I got a whole list of like future titles that I could get for Dance School Diaries. There's about 15 titles, and I have like 3 stories that's already written already. So, of course, I had to go through the process. I had to go through the editorial process, and then I got to draw it. But I need to edit it first, and then whatever the story is, then I'll go about sectioning it off and then, like, drawing it according to, like, this paragraph goes to this page and all that stuff. So, that's fun for me, though. It's really fun. It's just, I just need to be in, like, my own zone, my own inspirational zone. So, I'm still working on trying to, you know, get my home life right. So we can because all of this was done. I live with my sister. So that's hard, you know, to live with somebody and not, you know, when you come home, you regroup. Because your home is your sanctuary to come home and regroup and then to go out in the world and then to conquer the world. But to live with other people and still have this thing to do, like, it's hard to do it. Like, it's hard because you want other people's time and you want other people's space, and then you don't have that picture over here that inspires you. You don't have that corner that's over here so you don't have that, and so you gotta change your atmosphere and change your reality and just zone out and just get it done.
Yeah.
But I'm excited to be in my own space and to see, you know, what work comes out of me being in my own space, because this work came out of a confusion. Like, it was just like unstable confusion and all kinds of like, you know, all kinds of, not negative, but just all kinds of like limitations and like roadblocks. This came from out of. So if this came from out of that, I just can imagine like if I have everything, all my ducks all lined up in my place and my go-to room that I just go to and shut the door and just get the work done. Like the work is probably just going to be like amazing. So that's like, I can't wait for that. Yeah. I really can. Work in progress still. I'd like to say thanks for Killer for having me. This is my very first interview and I'm really, really excited. But I want to give her a book and I'm going to sign it. I'm not going to sign it in front of y'all. But,
Thank you.
I want to give her a book, but I also want to give her a book to give to one of her readers or one of her viewers, whatever. And then whoever gets the book, you will also have a nice special message in it. And I just pray that you get a lot out of it that, you know, even though it's a children's book, but a lot out of it is also messages that I have that's for teachers and parents and students and all that stuff. So, yeah. I hope everybody gets something out of that book.